Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Spain, Russia, another upset at the World Cup. Did anyone expect it? How did Russia do it? And why did Spain struggle at this tournament? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to break down how Russia beat Spain. So when we break down Spain against Russia, obviously we're expecting Spain to cruise through this game. Russia haven't looked convincing against top sides at the World Cup, but this was a different encounter. They changed things up. Spain couldn't break them down. Spain equally haven't been at their best at this tournament. So when we look at it, when we briefly break this down, we look at Spain 4-2-3-1. Koke slides into the starting lineup. Asensio slides into the starting lineup. Nacho moves to right back, and then you have your regulars Costa, Isco, Silva on the flank, which means Andres Iniesta is dropped. Russia changed things up as well. They moved to a five-man backline, technically three center backs. And what they did, which really made them special, was the fact that they dropped to a 5-4-1 without the ball. Very narrow. Samadov and Golovin on the flanks. In midfield, Kuziev and Zobnin. And what they did to stop Spain, when we really break it down, was force them out wide. They stayed in their shape. They weren't man marking. They were dropped deeper, very narrow. They had Zuba, who started up front, sit on Busquets. Busquets rarely had any influence on the game. Wasn't able to circulate passes out wide. Koke moved out to the flanks, more so in the half spaces to pick up the ball. He played passes sideways from flank to flank, and Spain couldn't really get anything going. It doesn't help that you have Nacho coming down the right, who isn't much of an offensive threat. So like we've seen for large spells throughout this tournament, Spain, everything that went through them either went through Isco or went down the left. Problem here, you don't have Iniesta really helping you out. So obviously you're going to have players pushing out. You're going to have Isco coming in, and he helps out there because Asensio was somewhat basically on the right, and then Silva was floating around as well. But you had Isco coming out to the left, Alba's there, but you don't really have much of an overload. A lot of the times they had quick switches, quick diagonals where Silva would switch over, or what would happen after that is that they'd have Isco kind of just stick wide. They'd switch play to one side and quickly switch it back to him. But Isco was good in the sense that he was retaining possession. He was drifting from flank to flank, linking play. But the problem was he wasn't able to get in between those lines where they want to exploit space, where Silva wants to pick up the ball, where Isco wants to pick up the ball. Still, everything kind of went through Isco. When you look at it though, the first half, they get the fortuitous goal. It is an own goal that Ramos helped kind of put into the net. So they go up 1-0 and you think, okay, Spain's going to cruise through this. However, Russia stuck to what you thought they were going to do. Try to pump balls into Zuba. And the first time they did that, Zuba won it over Ramos. It led to Golovin getting an opportunity at the edge of the box. The second time they did that, they played a quick ball over behind Alba. And what happened down that flank was we saw this often. Mario Fernandes, whenever Russia looked like they wanted to get forward, he was pushing forward, trying to peg back Alba. This time he was able to pick up the ball, keep it in play, win the corner that led to the PK handball. But besides that, Russia never really had anything going for them. Zuba isn't much of a counterattacking threat. Golovin and Samadov were expected to do so much work without the ball, and that's where they struggled. And as the game wore on, eventually Spain did create chances. We think about Isco often combining with Alba or Costa. You think about one opportunity where he does take on a marker. He clips the ball to the far post. Costa nods a tame effort on goal. You think Costa was obviously frustrated because he wasn't getting service in between the lines or anywhere near the box. He would charge into half space. You see Isco combine with Costa there. The pullback comes back to Isco, but he's unable to get a shot on goal. And that is kind of where they were really offering a threat. Isco was often moving out to the flanks, but he was isolating the play, slowing it down, and that was kind of summing up what Spain were really doing. Slow possession, weren't really finding players between the lines. Silva, again, wasn't great. Asensio He was supposed to offer some dynamism, an offensive direct threat. He wasn't doing that, just plain passes. There was one time when he got the ball in a pocket of space and he just simply passed it back when you'd expect him to turn and run at goal. It was very simple for Russia, who stuck into their shape, weren't really looking to get forward. And you look at the second half when they make their changes. Granat comes off for Zhirkov. Granat doesn't complete a pass throughout the time that he's on the field. So that means that they weren't really getting much down the left, because that pushed Khrushchev down to the left-hand side, and Granat moved to center back. And then when you look at the fact that they bring on Cheryshev, they bring on Smolov. You thought Smolov would possibly offer pace and drifting out into the channels when they won the ball, but he just dropped a bit deeper. Spain's changes, Iniesta came on. He didn't really offer much of a threat. They brought on Carvajal to try and spread something down the right, but nothing was really going on there. Spain were struggling for ideas. Their best chance came when they took off Costa. It's Isco again drifting out to that space, playing the overlapping pass into Alba. Puts the cross into Aspas, who tees up Iniesta. That shot is saved by Akinfeev. And you look at Spain in a nutshell, nothing really good going for them. Busquets was shut out of the game. They bring on Aspas. They bring on Rodrigo. They move to a 4-4-2. They only really got going after regulation when they play an extra time. There's one chance where Asensio picks up the ball between the lines, fires a shot on goal. You think about Rodrigo spinning Granat on the counterattack, but as a whole, they weren't very good. There was no penetration, couldn't get the ball between the lines, no creativity. Isco solely being the man that was able to create chances for them, and that summed everything up for Spain, losing in penalty kicks. But when you look at their tournament as a whole, Spain in a nutshell, not good enough. The first game, defensive errors lead to a tie against Portugal. They squeaked by Iran, fortuitous goal from Costa. Morocco, Ramos and Iniesta make the mistake here, PK handball. They shouldn't have been in the situation. They got there. Kudos to Russia, changing their formation, 5-4-1, not really looking for a goal, but they did get it. They defended for long spells, stayed narrow, were never pulled out, and they're worthy winners going on to the quarterfinals. But let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.